After what feels like an eternity, Mordhau finally has gotten a major content update. The Eastern Invasion is arguably the biggest patch Mordhau has seen since its release. In this video I want to show you all the new additions and changes that this update brought to the game, so let's get straight into it. First and foremost, Mordhau has gotten two new maps. Noria is a large-scale frontline and invasion map. The sandy terrain as well as the clay buildings give it a typical Middle Eastern vibe. The map is well structured from a level design standpoint in my opinion. It feels a bit more straightforward, with less verticality than Castello and Feitoria. The first objective on the invasion mode is to destroy the Norias. After that, the attackers have to burn down the city and breach the gates to the castle. The last objective is to kill the NPC nobles that are barricaded in their sleeping chambers. All in all, a great map, very pretty with fun and straightforward objectives. The release of a new frontline and invasion map was long overdue. I actually had to double check. Castello, the last frontline and invasion map, was added in March 2020, more than 1.5 years ago. The second map that has been added with this update is Cortile. Basically a courtyard, mainly made for brawl game modes, but it also functions well as a small duel yard. Interestingly, Cortile is the first map in Mordhau that has a weather effect. The rain and the lightning on this map look incredible and provide a great atmosphere. By far my favorite small-scale map in the game. Besides those two new maps, the update also brought various optimizations and exploit fixes to existing maps. Next on the list are the new cosmetics. The first thing that catches the eye is the addition of Nubian characters, an ethno-linguistic group of people that mainly live in Egypt, Sudan and Kenya. The base template obviously has a different face shape and a darker skin tone. There are also new hairstyles, beards, eyebrows and a badass new voice for this character. Let's have a quick listen.
Charge! For glory! Look at that! Yes, of course! No chance! I need some assistance! You are lower than a snake's belly! Slaughter them like pigs!
The Eastern Invasion update also brought a bunch of new armor skins. Quite a few new helmets, including Crusader helmets and a kipcheck. There is also a new shiny Sultan set that has a beautiful chestplate. As for weapon skins, there is a new arming sword skin as well as a new executioner sword skin. And last but not least, we have two DLC sets, the Lion set and the Grotesque set, which sell for €4 each. I already heard some complaints about Traternion selling in-game items for real money, but I think the price is very reasonable. Their studio now has around 20 employees, and pretty much their only income is through game sales. Yes, they made millions on release, but the ongoing development still has to be somewhat sustainable. So I'm totally fine with them selling some in-game cosmetics for a few bucks here and there, as long as they are not completely over the top design-wise. Some Eastern themed cosmetics that have been teased didn't make it into this update, like the full Cuman set for example. The patch notes state that this update is only part 1 of the Eastern Invasion. Part 2 will come in early 2022 and will feature another big frontline and invasion map and more cosmetics. There are also rumors that the next update will feature a big combat overhaul, as well as the female character models. Mordhau's community manager recently admitted that Traternion underestimated the game engine upgrade, which messed up their updating schedule. As a consequence, Mordhau was bleeding players heavily and reached its all-time low of around 1800 average players according to Steam charts. This Eastern Invasion update is good, but not enough on its own to keep the game alive. There are very few online PvP games on the market that can survive without regular updates, and Mordhau is definitely not one of them. Anyway, combat and weapon changes in this update are very minor. It wouldn't make much sense to change too many values right before a big combat overhaul. There were some slight buffs to the short spear and the partisan. Also, the deployable spawns got nerfed. They are now easier to destroy, don't grant spawn protection anymore, and they disappear when the player that placed them dies and spawns without a toolbox. The update brought a new weapon. The Scimitar is a single-edged sword with a curved blade, typically associated with the Middle East and Northern Africa. This new strike-dominant one-handed weapon costs 15 points and can 3-shot tier 3 chest. It also does very high damage to tier 1 and tier 2 armored opponents. Compared to the one-handed Messer, it is a bit shorter, doesn't 2-shot tier 2 chest, and has a shorter release time, which hurts its swing manipulation. Its stamina values are also below average for a medium cost weapon. The strength of the Scimitar lies in its speed. Strike and combo windups are very fast, faster than the Messer. All things considered, a pretty average weapon in my opinion. Big changes to frontline and invasion games brought this update in form of matchmaking changes. One-sided pub games, where most high-level players stack on one side, have been a problem for a long time in Mordhau now. With this update, players will get auto-assigned to a team at the start of a game. You also can't swap teams in the middle of a game anymore. Pre-made parties, however, are still able to play on the same team. A simple change that is long overdue in my opinion. The patch notes don't state how exactly the auto-assignment works, but presumably based on account level, which should be good enough for this purpose. Moving on to one of the biggest parts of this update, and something that came rather surprising to me, namely the full revamp of Horde, the PvE game mode in Mordhau. Traternion changed the objective from just surviving the waves of enemies to protecting an NPC, which should make the game mode more interesting. Players now also gain skill points after each round that they can spec into melee, tank, support or ranger perks. And you can even get access to active ultimate abilities. They updated sounds, the user interface and the AI behavior. There's also a new goblin NPC that you can sell back your items. Maps have been updated, the pacing has been improved, and they even implemented the possibility to revive teammates during rounds. Really big changes after all. I have never been the biggest Horde fan, but I played a few games yesterday right after the update came out, and it was super fun. I even thought about setting up a Horde community server in the near future. One last thing that I want to mention in this video, even though it is not part of this update, is that Mordhau just recently released official modding tools. There was some community-made SDK before, but this official one is more powerful and makes it way easier to create mods for the game. I will leave the link to the modding Discord in the video description below. The Discord is run by really nice and helpful people, so if you want to know what's going on in Mordhau's modding scene, or maybe want to help with a project, or look for people for your own project, this is the place to be. Anyway guys, that's it for this update overview. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Eastern Invasion, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone. Try to stay safe in these difficult times. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.